Hello, everyone, and welcome into Yelling from the Couch. I'm Brent Humphreys, joined by my co-host Gage Berdovich. We are here for the NFL Week 11 Pick'ems. We are over halfway through the season. Gage, how you doing this week, man?
I'm doing good. NFL football was quite a week for me, at least to say. College football, well, that's a whole nother story. If anyone watched the last college pick'em game, I said in chat that if Pitt loses, I'm no longer watching college football. Pitt lost. So I don't think I'm watching any college football, at least for this week. They're going against Clemson. It's a noon game. Who knows if I'll even be awake. So hopefully don't get to watch that one. Um, but otherwise, doing good. Was really hoping for a Ravens loss last week. I don't know what team might have screwed that up. And I know pick wise because I was keeping track this week. I didn't have a very good week in picks. I don't know how you did. I don't remember how much we differed, but it's been a very roller coaster week. How are you doing?
Oh, well, before I get into the certain team that played the Ravens, me and Joey did the podcast, the college football pick'em, and we both, I think, he went with Pittsburgh, I think. I went with Clemson. I was like, and it's strange how just 2 weeks changes what that game looks like. Clemson goes out and loses to Louisville, and then Pitt loses back-to-back games, SMU, and then Virginia, of all teams, at home last week. So, it's if this game was 2 weeks ago, this would have a lot different look than what it does right now. But yeah, so you know, college football. I've been done with college football. I like watching it and stuff, but my team's been out for a while. So welcome to the club, man.
Yeah, I was really hoping like if Pitt would have picked up a win last week, chances are game day would have come to Pittsburgh. But instead, Pitt probably I think they dropped now out of the top 25. I would be very surprised if they were still in it.
Oh, they're out.
But yeah, it's not looking good. You start out what 7-0. You drop to SMU. You drop to Virginia Tech. Your offense looks great in the first 5 weeks, and now Holstein in the last 4 weeks has thrown 2, 3 touchdowns. Maybe it's not looked good in recent weeks for Pitt.
And you said there was a chance that game day came there. Do you all have a chant up there like LSU did with Pat McAfee last week? Did you happen to see that?
I did see that. I don't think
Whoa.
we have one quite like that. um, Maybe if we were playing West Virginia, yeah, we would. But any other team, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, they were saying that there, and I'm like, oh man, okay,
Yeah.
alrighty. But yeah, so back into the NFL here last week. The Baltimore Ravens defeated Cincinnati Bengals 35-34. And my thoughts on that game was the Bengals had a big lead. They let the Ravens back in it. In a play similar to the one in the first matchup, Lamar is dead to rights, sacked. He gets away. He scrambles. The first game he finds likely in the end zone for a touchdown. This time he runs the ball all the way to the one without anybody getting him down. And then another play. Wallace catches the ball, and CTB, just a little shove. He doesn't get out of bounds. He stays in bounds the whole way down the sideline. They thought he was out of bounds. They give up on the play. Knock him into the third row into the stands before you let go of the play. You let him go all the way down the field. Just a blown coverage right there. I mean, just giving up on the play, basically. And then the touchdown at the end for the Bengals to Chase was amazing. And then the decision to go for two. 30-some seconds left. Do you take it into overtime like you did the first time and Lamar comes out and maybe fumbles like he did before? Or do you go for the win? I agree with the decision to go for the win. There was a hands to the face that wasn't called to Burrow.
Yeah.
And there was a pass interference that wasn't called to Gesicki, but I mean, that was away from the play, whatever. My problem isn't with any of that. My problem is you throw to Tanner Hudson at that point in time, who is still shy of the goal line if he does catch it. give the ball to your best player. And your best player is Jamar Chase. And before you call a timeout, he's got one-on-one coverage up top over here. Give it to him. Throw the ball to him. Let him make the play. He's your best player. If he doesn't make the play, fine. Baltimore, congratulations. He makes the play. It's like, all right, that's what you want right there. You got to give the ball to your best player in a situation like that. But, man, so disappointing and frustrating to lose to that team twice in the manner that the Bengals did. They've blown the game twice to them. I mean, 2 games this year they've blown to Baltimore.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, Chase went, 11 for 264 and 3 touchdowns or something ridiculous like that. And Burrow doesn't even look his way on a 2-point conversion. I mean, I agree with you. I love the call. I mean, just a couple weeks ago between Tampa Bay and Kansas City, people were like, oh, why would you take the extra point and go for 2? You don't want to go to overtime. I agree with this. The Ravens team, you're going against them. You don't want to go to overtime because Lamar's going to pull probably something magical out of his pocket and win anyways if you don't get the ball first. So go for 2. Yeah, there was missed hands to the face, but don't throw it to Tanner Hudson. What are you doing?
Yes. Absolutely, man. Like I said, it was so frustrating there. And if they do take the extra point and they go to overtime and they're over there flipping the coin, I could see Burrow doing the same thing Baker did. If Lamar gets the win, you just it's over. But that's why I like the call, but I didn't like the play call necessarily. But so it's frustrating, man.
It's frustrating, but hopefully this week, pick it up a little bit. Maybe the Ravens get knocked out by the Steelers. They drop they're half a game, I think, behind Pittsburgh right now. They would go to a game and a half behind with a loss. I can only hope so.
Yeah, and that's one of the big matchups of the week that we'll pick here in a minute. But Cincinnati's still not out of playoff contention. They're still in it, but going 0-2 to the Ravens early in the year is not going to help tiebreaker situations. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, definitely not going to help tiebreaker situations. And if you want a chance at the playoffs, you probably have to win out or at max lose only one more game. And there's a lot of things that you need to go right. Pittsburgh needs to lose a lot. Baltimore needs to lose a lot. Even just have a chance at that 7 seed. And if you want to look at other people, Denver, if you want a chance at the wild card, Denver needs to lose a lot because somehow with their rookie quarterback, they're still in the thick of it. So it's a tough road to the playoffs right now for Cincy, but like you said, there is still ways to do it. I would be very surprised, though, if it does happen.
Yeah, I got that little slimmer of hope right there that I'm hanging on to. Hanging on to it. I've got to.
It's not like, the Reds or the Pirates where, halfway through the season we can be like, all right, they're eliminated from playoffs. There's still that slight chance of hope. But like I said, long road ahead.
So you mentioned the Pirates, and real quick, before we get into our picks, I've just got to mention something with the Pirates organization here. Okay, I don't know if you've seen this. You might have. There's an MLB debut card, Paul Skeens, 1-1, our patch auto.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Pirates made an offer to whoever pulls this card. Their offer, 2 Pittsburgh Pirates season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years. A softball game for 30 at PNC Park, coaching from the Pirates alumni. A spring training experience like no other. Private tour of Pirate City and Lecom Park. Is that right? Lecom Park?
I think that's how you pronounce it, yeah.
Meet and greet with Paul Skeens. 2 Paul Skeens autographed jerseys. Take batting practice / warm up with the team and other unique experiences at Pirate City and Lecom Park.
That would be so cool. That would be so freaking cool.
What an offer right there, right? Like, could you imagine pulling that card as a Pirates fan?
Dude, if I pulled that card, I would probably drop to my knees and just freeze because I wouldn't know what to do. Like, yeah, you could probably sell it like on eBay or whatever for a lot. But if you turn that into the Pirates, you get, 2 season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
We'll say, $500 a piece, turn around and resell them. You're going to make
Yeah.
more on that than what you could with the card itself, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
And then the meet and greet with Paul Skeens, the 2 autographed jerseys. On top of that, I saw a thing where Livy Dunn said, whoever pulls the card gets to sit in the suite with her at a game. So that would also be a nice little added bonus onto it.
Yeah.
It's something that a lot of people are going to be going after, I think. Because what happens, like, if, say, someone out in California pulls that card? Well, you get these season tickets for the next 30 years. That's great, but you're on the other side of the country. You ain't moving to Pittsburgh just to go watch the Pirates play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm going to be, I know it's probably never going to come out, but I would be interested to know how much money Topps will make just from people trying to find that card. It's going to be amazing. I may or may not try to get it myself, but it's, man, that's a heck of an offer. There's nothing really much more to say about that. Just wow.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the Pirates are a pretty cheap organization, kind of like my Reds. So I'm surprised they come up with that offer because I know the Reds never did offer that for Ellie.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. But I mean, after 5 years or so, they might just pull away the incentives, might pull away the bonus, be like, sorry, we're trading you to another fan base or something like that. I don't know.
Sorry, Paul Skeens is in LA right now. So since the whole thing's null and void now since he's gone.
Oh, that would be awful, but I could see that so happening.
Oh, if it's anything like the Reds, which they are, we're similar in baseball franchises. It wouldn't surprise me.
No. But also just looking at that card, it looks sweet. I mean, it's a 1-of-1, has the debut date, has a nice patch with it. Skeens' autograph, I love his autograph. I mean, I don't know if I would even want to trade that in. Like, that would just be something nice to keep for the next 20, 30 years. But I don't know. I think it's definitely worth it. Whoever gets it, feel free to send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, and I will definitely be sure to take it off your hands.
That or you've just found a new best friend right there. Hey.
Well, yeah, that too.
You need anybody to accompany you to a game? I'm your guy.
You're getting 2 Paul Skeens autographed jerseys, so it's like you can share one a little bit.
Yeah, you don't need 2 of them. I'll take the black one. You can have the other one. So yeah, I just seen that earlier, and I was like, I've got to see if Gage has seen this yet and what he thinks about it. You being a Pirates fan, and what an experience that would be. I mean, that would be a heck of an experience.
I would be curious though. It's a spring training experience, right? Their spring training's down in Florida, which okay. Would you have to get yourself down there to Florida, or would they provide like the airfare, the hotel cost, or whatever? Or is it just like, when you get down here, then we'll have this ready for you?
It's probably that one. It's probably the latter. I'd say there's probably like, you know what? We're paying for everything else. You find your way down here. Yeah. Not paying for it all.
Be like, all right, I'll just sell a couple of these, behind the home plate tickets, and I'll make up the cost.
Yeah, I'll be right down there. So with our picks last week, I went 8-6. Winning week. All right. You went 6-8.
Yeah.
I'm now 87-58, and you are 92-53 on the year.
Still not bad.
We both went with the Bengals. Which, I think we both went with the Bears.
Yeah.
I went with the Commanders. You went with the Steelers. So we differed there. So we differed a little bit last week.
It feels like every time you pick against the Steelers, they end up winning. So if you could do me a favor and just keep picking the Steelers every week, that would be great. But that game, I know the Thursday night game was incredible between Cincy and Baltimore. But this game between Pittsburgh and Washington probably was the game at least of the day. Game of the day for Sunday. I've never been as excited or as nervous as I was during that game. And then when Mike Williams caught his only pass, which was a touchdown, I was like, yeah, yeah. And then Zach Ertz questionably gets called short even after review. I don't feel bad considering there was a missed holding call on TJ Watt in the end zone that should have resulted in a safety, and also a missed holding call against Dante Jackson on one of their field goals that should have pushed it back further. So I really don't feel bad for that, questionable call.
Yeah, that was probably the game of the early slate there Sunday for sure. To get a win on the road like that is pretty big, and we have, we was like, hey, Pittsburgh should just stick with Justin Fields, like, right? Whenever they first made the change over to Russell Wilson, he's proved us wrong. He's not done anything to, he's a different quarterback than he looked when he was in Denver his couple of years, for sure. I mean, he's maybe not the Russell in Seattle, but he's proven himself a little bit.
Yeah, definitely proven himself. He's got. I've talked about this before. He's got a beautiful deep ball. The thing I didn't like is how many times they attempted the deep ball on Sunday, but I also understand the Washington secondary is not good at all. He had one that was intended for Pickens that got picked off, where Pickens, I don't know how he touched the guy that intercepted it, but then body slammed the other guy that was covering him. That was kind of funny. And then he had another one. It was going from right to left on the TV screen on the near sideline, where I don't know how Russ put it right there. I mean, I think it was St. Juice was just on Pickens, and Russ somehow just put it right in the bucket. And he had a couple other attempts. I'm like, why are we going to deep to Van Jefferson? Like, come on. Throw it up to Pickens. He can make these incredible catches, or he's going to body slam the defender. Either one, it makes for good entertainment.
So you mentioned why are we going on these deep shots. Another thing that I didn't mention about the Bengals game. 3rd and 1. The Bengals go deep to Jermaine Burton. It didn't work. Okay. 4th and 1. Let's throw another 40-yard pass down the field. Let's just pick up the first down. Let's stop doing all this deep down the field stuff. What are we doing? They went like 3 times in a row to Jermaine Burton on a deep pass. And I think they didn't connect on any of those. Maybe one. They connected one time with Jermaine Burton. And it's like, no, let's not do this. What are we doing? Come on, guys. But yeah, unnecessary deep shots on the offense. 15-yard penalty. I mean,
Yeah, and I don't think, going back to the Steelers game, I don't think I've ever seen the hard count actually work to where it draws someone off sides until Sunday when Russ got the rookie to jump, and it's like, they're not snapping that ball. Why are you jumping? I'm not arguing because Washington probably would have been able to go down and kick the game-winning field goal, but that was, like I said, I don't think I've ever seen the hard count work.
And how mad was Dan Quinn after that? Probably he's probably gonna be like, "You got to be kidding me! Getting him to jump right here."
Like, it's a coachable moment for the rookie. He is still a rookie, but it's like you got to watch the ball. You can't anticipate it.
No. And last night, the Commanders just continue that streak, and they lose again to Philly. They just can't beat the teams in Pennsylvania. 26-18 in what was a very ugly game, especially the first 3 quarters. I mean, it was not good.
I was really hoping Washington was going to win that one just to get Philly fans to shut up. It would have been so nice. Also playing against Saquon in fantasy this week. I played against Jamar last week, and now Saquon this week. Can we stop? We talk about how many people are injured on my team. You don't got to throw insult to injury. Like, this is not fun at all.
Oh man, somebody I seen where they put up a meme. It was like, if you're playing Jamar Chase in fantasy, you might as well just go ahead and quit fantasy.
Yeah.
I didn't go up against him. I'm glad I didn't, but I never even thought, with all your injuries, that you would have Jamar in fantasy. You have like the worst fantasy luck that there is, man.
Especially this year. Like I started off the first few weeks great, and now it's like the fantasy gods remembered who I was. It's like, nope, sorry, we can't have this happen. I mean, again, this week, no Amari Cooper, or I guess I should say for this past week, no Amari Cooper. Who else? Brian Robinson was out against the Steelers, and now a new injury on Gage's fantasy team. Not as big of a one, but he was placed on IR, and that's the Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker. They say he's expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks, but he's put on IR, so he's going to miss at least 4. Yeah, just it's not, like I said, not a big loss, but it's still another one to go on to the what I call it last week. Who's dead on Gage's fantasy team segment?
Yeah, and this time it's just your team with having to play Chase and then Barkley and then man. I, on the other hand, I'm in first place on my fantasy team. 7
Must be
3
nice
right now.
Must be real nice.
Rolling along pretty good. I mean, the biggest injury I have is T. Higgins, who's expected to play this week, by the way. But
about time.
It's about time. Yes, contract year. But yeah,
who knows?
So
maybe he'll have a Jamar Chase stat line like last week.
I'm hoping so. I mean, that'd be great. I mean, you get them two both out there finally playing. Maybe they'll stop taking deep shots to Jermaine Burton and maybe give it to one of them guys.
Nah.
Well, we'll get into our picks here, and we'll start with the Green Bay Packers traveling to Chicago to face the Chicago Bears. Green Bay's a 5.5-point favorite here. Gage, what do you think about this? The Bears are reeling since the Hail Mary, and I believe we both went with them last week, and they mustered up a field goal, fired their offensive coordinator. What do you think about it?
Muster a field goal, you fire offensive coordinator. I don't know what to expect this week from the new offensive coordinator. I think it was it their quarterback's coach or whatever that's taken over? I don't really remember, but
I think so.
Man, it's crazy how one play, the Hail Mary, can really just turn your season upside down. That's what it feels like it's done. You get who was it? Tyreek Stevenson, I believe, taunting the crowd, and that was their last happy moment as a Bears organization, was him taunting the crowd. I cannot trust the Bears to win. I would rather, even if Malik Willis was playing at quarterback for the Packers, I would take the Packers. Jordan Love's in there. I believe everyone's healthy. Give me the Packers. Give me the points. The Bears keep disappointing like they do every year against Green Bay.
Yeah, and the Bears, I don't know how well the new offensive coordinator is going to fix the offensive line in just a week's time, because Caleb Williams doesn't have a whole lot of time to do anything back there.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the run, and the receivers can't get open in that amount of time. A bad offensive line makes a decent quarterback look bad, and he's not looked good. They haven't had a touchdown in, I forget how many quarters it was. I know they didn't get any last game. I don't know. Did they get one against the Commanders, or was that all field goals? I can't remember. It may have been the first half of that game.
Trying to see here. No touchdowns. So the game beforehand was against the Cardinals. No touchdowns there. And then against the Commanders, they put up 15. Oh, DeAndre Swift had a touchdown. So it's been, I think it's at least 8 quarters.
Yeah, I think passing touchdowns, though, has been longer.
Let's see here. Nothing against the Commanders. The Jaguars was the last game with a passing touchdown, and that was back on October 13th.
Yeah, so we're over a month since their last passing touchdown for the season. And like like I said, you don't know what to expect with the new offensive coordinator, but I don't know if he's going to be able to fix that offensive line in a week's time, especially going up against a team like the Packers. The Packers are a decent team. I think the Packers are going to win. I also saw the stat where Caleb Williams has 9 touchdowns on the season, which is the same amount of touchdowns Joe Burrow has had in the last 2 weeks himself. So, yeah. But yeah, I like the Packers in this one. And they also have the same amount of wins. So I guess it really don't matter, the Packers or the Bengals and the Bears. But I like the Packers in this one. Give me the Packers to cover. Yeah, I just think that the Bears are trending in the wrong direction, and I think their head coach Eberflus is probably next in line in the chopping block. You can get rid of your offensive coordinator and try to have a scapegoat, but I think he's probably going to be next.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to be next, but I also think you got to go back to that offensive line. Yeah, Caleb, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of time back there, but he also has the most amount of sacks taken this season when he holds the ball for 4 more seconds. So your offensive line's not going to hold up for that long. You can't be holding on to the ball for that long. This isn't college. You can't do this in the NFL against these pro defenses.
Yeah, it's definitely different than playing at USC than it is in the NFL. I mean, it's like you said, you can't hold on to it that long and expect anything good to happen. But
No,
you know, not looking good in Chicago right now.
definitely not.
The next 1 o'clock matchup, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-8 with Mac Jones leading the way, travel to Detroit to face the Detroit Lions. Detroit is a 14-point favorite at home. The over-under is 46.5. Man, Gage, who you like in this one? And that spread looks like one of those college football spreads right there.
That has to be the biggest spread I think we've had this year for the NFL. And honestly,
I believe it is.
with the way that the Lions have been playing, I know they just won last week, even after Goff threw 5 interceptions, which is just incredible to think about. I think the Texans just suck that bad. But I could see them covering that. You got Mac Jones in at quarterback. I think I picked the Jaguars last week to win, not knowing that Mac Jones was going to be in at quarterback. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Mac Jones is in. Brian Thomas Jr. is questionable. I think ETN and Bigsby are both questionable. Nothing good's going on. I'm going to take the Lions. I'm going to take the points as well. This is if somehow, by some miracle, the Jags are able to cover or beat the Lions. I've mentioned before, my roommate's a Lions fan. I might not hear from him for a month. So give me the Lions. Give me the points on this one.
Yeah, so last week the Jaguars played the Vikings really close.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lead at the half. At the end of the first quarter, it was 7-3. At the end of the third quarter, it was 7-6.
Yeah.
And then they give up a touchdown in the fourth quarter. I think Minnesota's kind of fallen off a little bit, I don't think that's really indicative of what the Jaguars are with Mac Jones back there at quarterback. But, they played them pretty close. The Lions, on the other hand, as you mentioned, Jared Goff with 5 interceptions in a game, and they still win. And their kicker, Jake Bates, he had a field goal to tie it there, and it went just inside the uprights. And then he hit the game-winning one, which went on the other side, just inside the uprights. How neither one of those balls, one of them may have grazed the upright, but the other one, maybe hit the flag or something. But, you couldn't fit a piece of paper in between the ball and the goalpost on either one of those kicks. How does that happen? That is amazing. But I'm going to go with the Lions in this. I don't think Jared Goff throws 5 interceptions every week. Imagine if he didn't throw 5 interceptions last week. That game's not as close as what it was. I think that they're going to get back on track, maybe go back to that running game a little bit. And, Goff's got to make a little bit better decisions if they're going to do anything in the playoffs. I think that they'll be better this week than last week. Give me the Lions. 14's a lot, though. 14's a lot in the NFL. Man. Give me Jacksonville to cover. Give me Jacksonville to cover. It may be a 10-point game, but they're going to cover. But, 14 is a lot, man. It's a lot.
It's a lot, but I think that's just indicative of how bad the Jaguars are and how bad Mac Jones is.
Yeah. And I may be overreacting to Jared Goff's 5 interceptions of why they think they keep it a little closer than 14, but I think they still win comfortably, but not 14.
That's fair. That's fair.
The next 1 o'clock matchup, I mentioned them just a minute ago. The Minnesota Vikings travel to Nashville to face the Tennessee Titans. Minnesota is a 6.5-point favorite. Gage, what do you think about this one here?
I think this is going to be a bad game. I mean, it's Will Levis versus Sam Darnold. Neither one, obviously. I mean, Levis just isn't good. Darnold hasn't looked good for the past few weeks. 3 interceptions last week against the Jaguars. We just talked about the Lions, threw 5 interceptions and 1. Darnold threw 3. I don't think he had a passing touchdown. Maybe he did. I don't remember. And still won. So this is not going to be good, but you have to look at the playmakers on both sides. What does Tennessee have? They have Calvin Ridley. Okay, that's cool. But the Vikings, you got Aaron Jones, you got Justin Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison. I'm going to take the one that has more playmakers. Give me the Vikings on this one. Give me the points. I don't think this is going to be a good game at all.
They also have Tony Pollard at the running back position. He's had a decent season. You mentioned another playmaker here. You forgot to mention Will Levis as a playmaker. He's going to make plays. Maybe not for Tennessee, but he's making plays, right? He's making big-time plays. He may be the best playmaker for the Vikings this week. The Vikings just didn't look good last week at all. You got to get the ball more to Justin Jefferson, right? You have to.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Jones, on the ground, he's had a good year. Tennessee's just bad, like you said. They're back to Will Levis again. This is Will Levis's, if he doesn't do anything the rest of this season, which I don't expect him to, this is, I think, his last shot at being a starting quarterback in this league. And I think he's done after this season. Give me the Vikings in this one. It's not going to be a good game, like you said. I think the Vikings cover the spread. I think they win big on the road. Give me the Vikings. But I don't think the Vikings, they're 7-2. They start out 5-0. But I think that they're going to, they're not going to make a deep run to playoffs. I don't believe so.
No, they're definitely not going to make a deep run, even if they make a run at all. You might get to the point to where they just lose out, and maybe Green Bay and Detroit take over number 1 and 2, and they're the ones making the playoff run.
Yeah, I could see that as well because, I think they win this week. That'll get them to 8 wins, but, who knows the rest of the way.
Yeah.
The next matchup should be a good one here. The Las Vegas Raiders at 2-7 travel to Miami to face the 3-6 Miami Dolphins. Miami is a 7-point favorite. Gage, Miami had everybody back last week. What do you think about them this week?
Ever since Tua's come back, the Dolphins have looked like a football team. They lost his first game back against Buffalo, but it was a very good game. They just won against the Rams last week. It wasn't that good of a game, but they still won. They put up 23 points. And the Raiders are just bad. I know you look at the records and it's like, oh, well, this should be a close game. Both of these teams are bad. A lot of the losses for Miami came with, Skylar Thompson. I don't even remember who else at quarterback. Snoop Huntley. I was thinking Tim Blow, but I don't think he was in there, but it feels like he was.
I think he was. I think he was. Yeah.
That just shows how bad the quarterback carousel has been this season for Miami. But they got Tua back. A-Chain's been doing good. Tyreek finally scored. So I'm going to go Miami on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. I didn't mean to interrupt your pick there. So you got Miami. You got them to cover it too and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me Miami. Give me the points.
So Miami last week, like you said, ugly game against the Rams, but they've looked a lot different with Tua back there, which I don't think Tua's. I don't think Tua is that good to make a team look better, but obviously he does. But Tyreek Hill, he had 16 yards receiving last week on one touchdown. 16 yards for Tyreek Hill. You've got to get him involved more, right? He had 11 yards rushing, 27 total yards, and 5 touches. Like, okay, come on now. Let's get him a little bit more touches here. The Vegas Raiders, I believe they're going back to Minshew, right? I think I read that. He's.
I feel like we don't really know who's the starting quarterback for this team right now. It might be O'Connell during the game. It might be Minshew during the game taking the snaps. They might put out dual packages. They might put out Carlson, their kicker, at quarterback. I think it is Minshew that starts, but I really have no idea anymore.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it matters though. Give me the Dolphins in this one. I like the Dolphins to cover two. I think that they get Tyreek Hill involved finally. Once again, got to get him more than 5 touches. I think they realize that, and I think they will this week. And Miami covers. The next matchup, we just talked about the Rams. The LA Rams travel to Foxborough to face the New England Patriots. The Rams are a 4.5-point favorite. Gage, who you got in this one?
Patriots coming off a big win, a good win against Chicago. Rams off what could be seen as a disappointing loss against Miami. I actually think this is going to be a good game. I think Drake May has really started to, finally develop into a decent quarterback. He doesn't have good weapons that he's throwing to. You got Demario Douglas out there. What's the other one? Booty. And there's like one other. Yeah, Jalen Polk. That these are not household names. And you got Stevenson at running back, who he's been decent, but not enough to really say, oh, you're a top running back in this league. The Rams, you got all the things. You got Stafford, you got Kupp, you got Puka, you got Kyron. Kyron didn't score a touchdown last week, which was surprising. I think he's now on a 2-game drought without a touchdown. I think he gets back into it this week. It is in Foxborough, so that does come into consideration a little bit. I know it's been getting really cold up here. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. If it's going to be like a snowy game, I would take the Patriots. But if it's going to be a normal weather game, kind of cold, but no real snow, rain, anything like that, I would take the Rams. I don't know the weather report for Foxborough, Massachusetts, but I'm going to say it's going to be regular weather. I'm going to take the Rams in this one. Give me the Rams. Give me the points. I think Kyron gets back on the board with another touchdown.
The Rams, since Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp came back, they've looked pretty good up until last week. And then it's just like they couldn't get the running game going. Nacua and Kupp, they both had I think Nacua had almost 100 yards. Kupp had like 80. And they were getting the ball, but a lot of it was when they were behind and trying to catch up at the end there. Like you said, Kyron Williams hasn't scored in a couple of weeks, which is whoa. He always scores. But they're going up to New England. It's going to be cold for them, but I think that they'll pull out the win too. Like you said, though, the Patriots, they've played a lot better since Drake May has taken over for quarterback. I mean, when they beat the Bengals at the beginning of the year, I thought that was going to be their only win of the season. Mm-hmm. Now they're 3-7. They're not even in last place in their division anymore. Since Drake May has taken over, they've won 2 games so far. And could have beat the Titans too. But I like the Rams in this one though. I think the Rams are too much for the Patriots. Give me the Rams. Give me a New England cover at home.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. The next matchup, the Cleveland Browns travel to New Orleans to face the New Orleans Saints. Cleveland's a 1-point favorite. New Orleans coming off of a win last week after firing their coach. Just look to make it 2 in a row. Gage, what do you think about it?
Uh, it should be a good one. Both of these teams, they don't have good records, but both of these teams have solid players. It seems like the Saints, they found their new Shaheed last week. MVS, Valdez Scantling, 3 catches, 100 plus yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like, that is a Rashid Shaheed stat line in itself. They found it. I don't know if Olave is going to play this week. Kamara is going to be there. He's going to be fully healthy. They're going to have Derek Carr. God, I don't know. I think this is going to be a good game. Cleveland, you got Chubb, Cedric Tillman's come alive with Jameis Winston at quarterback. This is a hard one. I think we're going to have a Jameis Winston masterclass this week. Give me the Browns and give me the points since they're only 1-point favorites.
Well, I thought when you said Jameis Winston masterclass, I thought that could go one of 2 ways. A lot of touchdowns, a lot of picks. That Jared Goff last week with the 5 picks, that was a Winston type game right there, right? But, in his prime. Man, both these teams, they've had a really down season. 7 losses for both of them. The Saints, they fired their coach. I picked the Saints last week on the podcast. I went back and listened. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I was like, I just feel like they're going to rally around a new coach. And they did. Like you said, they may have found their new Shaheed in Valdez Scantling. Played for Green Bay, played for the Chiefs for a little bit too. The Browns, they've looked better under Jameis Winston. I don't know if they've played better particularly. I mean, they've got a win over the Ravens. And Chubb's back. They're a different team with them. I think the Browns win in this one too. Give me the Browns to win and give me the Browns to cover. And what'll be a decent game for that time of day, for the 1 o'clock matchup. It's not the biggest 1 o'clock game, though, for sure, but it'll be competitive. The next one, you want to talk about disappointing teams. The Indianapolis Colts travel to East Rutherford, New Jersey to face the New York Jets. The Jets are a 4-point favorite. Cage, what do you think about this matchup here?
I know they said, Colts-wise, that they would be going back to Anthony Richardson at quarterback for, quote, the rest of the season. I feel like a couple weeks ago, maybe after Richardson tapped himself out, that Coach Steichen said, we're going to Joe Flacco for, quote, the rest of the season. I don't know what to make of this. I don't know how you can go back to both quarterbacks for, quote, the rest of the season. That team's just in shambles right now. I don't know what to think of Richardson. I mean, we saw it, Bryce Young there got benched for a little bit, and he's come back, and he's had 2 wins since coming back off the bench. He's starting to pick it up a little bit. Richardson, is he going to be the same? Did he learn anything from being, benched for old man Flacco? I don't know. I think if he does, it's going to take a week or so to come back. The Jets, they just got destroyed by the Cardinals last week. I don't think anyone expected that. I think it was 31-6 or something ridiculous like that. They were just bad. The Jets defense, I think they had 20 missed tackles or 10 missed tackles. I might have over exaggerated, but there was a lot of missed tackles. I saw an interview Sauce Gardner did that was like, yeah, we know how to tackle, blah, blah, blah. After, I guess, he got asked about the head coach doing tackling film in the meetings. It's like, well, obviously you guys don't know how to tackle because you just got ran through the Cardinals. There was a play specifically, Trey McBride, I believe, was on a little drag route on 3rd and 7. He was going to get tackled up right away, and then he just broke it. Got the first down. It was like a 20-yard pickup for him. It was bad. God, I don't know. What was the spread on this one?
4.5 for the Jets.
4. Oh, God.
4. Just
4. I don't like either team this week. I'm going to go with the I'm going to go with the Jets. Yeah, give me the Jets. Give me the points. Not a good game to look forward to.
Yeah, so like you said, it's odd that he comes out and says Anthony Richardson is the starter for the rest of the season when he made the same quote about Flacco. Richardson tapped himself out. This is where I think the difference is between him and Bryce Young. Bryce Young didn't choose to come out voluntarily. Richardson did. And I think that may be the difference in Bryce Young. Maybe he learned something. He took it in stride. He come back and he's played decent. They've won 2 games since then. Flacco, I think he's still the better option at quarterback than Richardson. He threw 3 picks last week, but Josh Allen threw 2 and still won. Jared Goff threw 5 and still won. Who's really going to give you the better shot at winning? Jets, on the other hand. Whoa, the Jets are back, right? All the way back. Oh, wait a second. We thought Kyler Murray was done gone. Call of Duty's out. He's done, over with for the season, and he was awesome last week for the Cardinals. I don't think we could say anything else about his Call of Duty anymore for a while until he proves us wrong. But this is not, like you said, this is a tough one to pick here. It's a lot. 4 points is a lot, I think, in this game because I think both teams aren't very good, really. The Jets got that win, the Thursday night before with Garrett Wilson making that awesome catch and got everybody hyped up on the Jets train. And then they come out last week and just get demolished on the road. They're at home this week. I like them to win this game. And I think that they'll cover the spread. I think that Anthony Richardson is not that good, and he's going to prove it again why he got pulled in the first place. He may even take himself out once again, and we may get a Joe Flacco as a starter for the rest of the season quote later this week. We'll see.
They might go out and sign another quarterback, and Shane Steichen might be like, this is our guy. This is the quarterback for the rest of the season right here.
Yeah, I could see it happening. Why not? Why not have 3 different quarterbacks as your guy for the rest of the year?
Makes total sense. We just went out. We signed A.J. McCarron. This is our guy rest of the season.
He's it until week 13. I guess technically it could be the rest of their season because I think their season's over with now. Their 4-6 is a lot different than the Bengals 4-6, in my opinion.
Yeah. One of these teams actually has a chance at coming back. The other one does not.
And now we head to the last 1:00 game of the week, in which it could be the game of the week this week. An AFC North battle between 2 rivals. The 7-3 Baltimore Ravens travel to Pittsburgh to face the 7-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. Here I am doing college football again. Baltimore is a 3-point favorite on the road. Gage, what do you think about your Steelers in this one?
If you want to place a number by Pittsburgh, you could say number 1 in the division. You could say, if you want to throw out some other numbers, Lamar. I saw a lot of people commenting on Instagram. Oh, Steelers finally get to play Baltimore not in January, when they have all their starters. Blah, blah, blah. Lamar's played Pittsburgh in the regular season, and his record is 1-3 against them. They average 19.8 points per game in games that Lamar has started. He has a 4-7 passing touchdown to interception ratio, averages 2.5 giveaways a game, and has a 66.3 passer rating in that time. He's not very good against Pittsburgh for whatever reason. He's great against all other teams, but when it comes to Pittsburgh, they have his number. The defense, they showed last week they can stop a running quarterback. Jaden Daniels, he's second in the league in quarterback rushing yards. I think he had four total rushing yards against Pittsburgh last week. And also, the one win that Lamar has against Pittsburgh was when Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges were at quarterback. I believe that was back in 2019 or something ridiculous like that. And that game went to overtime. So the defense is playing great for Pittsburgh. The special teams playing almost perfect. There's a fake punt that happened last week that perfect call. Just James Pierre. There's a reason why he's not a starting corner on defense because he doesn't have good hands. He should have caught that. Should have been a first down. Miles Killebrew, absolute perfect throw. And everyone wants to blame Danny Smith and Mike Tomlin for it when it's like, no, it was actually the good call. It was actually right. Just, James Pierre sucks. This offense, it's looked different than it has the past couple years. Kenny Pickett beat the Ravens twice. I mean, what's that tell you about the Steelers?
Says a lot.
The Ravens defense, they're not the same defense that we've known for the past couple years. I mean, we stole Patrick Queen from them. Kyle Hamilton's been iffy this year. They really don't have got hurt. Yeah, they really don't have a number one corner. Oh, man, I hope Hamilton's out. I hope he doesn't play. They really don't have a top corner. Their pass rush has been iffy at that. Steelers offense, they've looked a lot better than they have since, the last season that Big Ben played. I'm good. Let's do it. Underdog pick of the week, because I don't know what other game I would do it for. Give me the Steelers in this one. At home, I don't see any way that Baltimore comes into Pittsburgh and comes out with a win.
So last week, Pittsburgh beat Washington in Washington. Like you said, Jaden Daniels likes to get out and run the ball a little bit. He had like 5 yards, whatever it was, rushing. And he gets a lot more than that most games. They kind of shut that completely down, that defense, there was a couple sacks. I believe new guy Preston Smith gets in on the sack party. I believe he had a sack last week.
Yep.
You still got TJ Watt over there who's going to give Lamar fits. I think if he gets his hands on Lamar, he's probably coming down, unlike when Sam Hubbard for the Bengals gets his hands on Lamar and Lamar makes a crazy, ridiculous play down the sidelines to almost score a touchdown. Baltimore, they've struggled at times with decent defenses. They've struggled against bad teams. They've beaten the good teams for the most part. Pittsburgh, good team. This game's at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has a good defense, great defense, and they have a good offense going right now. It's really good. Pickens, he had 91 yards last week. Baltimore, they've got a good offense, really good offense. Lamar, Derrick Henry. Defense is questionable. It's very questionable. You could put up some yards on that defense. I think Lamar makes a mistake in this game. I think he turns the ball over in a critical moment, and Pittsburgh comes down, and Boswell kicks a field goal to beat the Ravens and push for Pittsburgh to win this game. Steelers win.
Man, you were throwing me for a loop on that one. Throwing me for a loop. And I got to talk about, too, like Justin Tucker. He's been the best kicker in the NFL since he's been in the league. But this season's been different. He's missed ones he shouldn't miss this season, and I don't know why. I think it's the age catching up to him, and I think that's going to play a factor this week. He's going to miss a kick, I hope, and it's going to cost Baltimore. It's going to be awesome. I'm hoping to go to that game. I don't know yet, and I'm hoping to wave my terrible towel as we walk out of Acrisure Stadium.
Yeah, that has got all the makings of the 1 o'clock game of the week. I mean, there's another game that may be the game of the week coming up, but that's we've got several good games, but that could steal the show right there. We'll see.
And you mentioned Preston Smith, the new guy coming on. He had to come in a little bit because Highsmith got hurt, but he ended up with a sack, ended up with a couple good chase down tackles, a couple tackles for loss. I was very questionable on why they went out and got Preston Smith. I liked that they got him, but now I understand. Herbig expected to come back this week, but he's coming off of injury that's kept him out for a couple weeks. I think Preston Smith's going to fill in pretty nicely for him, and they run a 3-4 defense where Green Bay runs a 4-3. Preston Smith likes a 3-4 a lot better. I think it's going to be good for him. He might get, a sack and a half against Lamar this week.
That'd be nice to see. And like I said, I think Lamar, he's good for turnover in big moments, and I think that's going to happen again this week. The next there's no more next 1 o'clock. It's the 4 o'clock matchups now. The Atlanta Falcons travel to Denver to face the Denver Broncos. Both teams coming off a loss. Denver's a 2-point favorite in this one. Gage, Denver had a chance last week to down the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are the luckiest team in the history of the world. Gage, who you got in this matchup here?
Oh, God, I don't know. Like you said, both teams coming off a loss, but they were very close games. The Falcons, I picked them last week to win. They let me down. But, Bijan, 2 touchdowns again on the ground. Denver. The Chiefs picked the perfect time to bull rush the left side of their pass protection on the field goal. Ended up with the victory. I don't know. Denver's come on, really, to be a good team. They have a current rookie running back that I'm trying to pull up his name real quick because I absolutely forgot. But
Estime,
yes. He's been getting a lot more snap share recently. Javonte and Jaleel, they were doing good, but since Estime's come on, he had 14 carries last week, I think, for 50+ yards. Looking to get a lot more of these snap shares. I like this kid. I've seen some highlights from him from Notre Dame. Pretty explosive. I don't know. I want to pick the Falcons just because of how much we've clowned the Broncos this season. Oh, Bo Picks, blah, blah, blah. They got one of their receivers, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, Vele, I think is how you pronounce his name, finally got his first touchdown. Cortland Sutton, I think, had a touchdown last week, which, where did that come from? No one could have expected that one. I'm going to go with Denver on this one. I think this is actually going to be a good game, though. But give me Denver, give me the points.
Yeah, Denver last week, they should have beat Kansas City. Like you said, perfect time to bull rush and block the kick, which they did. Like you said, we've talked about Bo Picks several times on here. He didn't have any picks last week. He's played really good the last little bit. From the way he started the year to where he is now, it's totally different. He's looking a lot better. You said Estime, he's coming on now. Falcons, on the other hand, they lost to the Saints. And, Saints were on a 7-game losing streak at home. That was a classic Kirk Cousins, we're better than this team, but we're going to lose to you because, Cousins had 306 yards passing. Bijan got 2 touchdowns. I'm going to take the Falcons in this one. I think they're going to go on the road in Denver, and they're going to get a win, and they're going to cover that spread. I just think that they're going to bounce back. And this could be a thing with the Denver Broncos where the Commander or the Bears lose on that Hail Mary, a heartbreaker, and it just kind of goes downhill from there. We'll see. But I think that they take 1 loss into 2 this week and give me the Falcons in this one.
Like I said, though, I think that's going to be a really good game.
Yes, I agree. The next matchup, 4:05, the Seattle Seahawks travel to San Francisco to face the San Francisco 49ers. San Fran is a 6.5-point favorite. Gage, McCaffrey is back. What do you think about this one?
McCaffrey's back, but he really didn't do too much on the ground wise. He did a lot out of the receiving game, but on the ground, he was okay. He was, probably what you expected in his first week back. Brandon Ayuk still out. Debo, I don't know what to expect from him each week. The Niners just extended one of their corners. They gave him like a 4-year, 5-year, $90+ million contract. Diamador Lenore. I don't think the guy was worth it. I don't know why they gave him that contract. It feels like they're just handing money out left and right now to people, which is interesting considering you're going to have to do something with Purdy here soon. And he's probably going to want a pretty hefty contract. The Seahawks, I mean, they're good. They're middle class. They're not above average. They're not below average. They're just good. I think they pull off another upset this week. I know I've already used my upset special. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, another big game out of him. And you still got DK, you still got Tyler Lockett, and you got Kenneth Walker out of the backfield. This team's good. It's just a matter of if they can put it together. Give me the Seahawks in an upset victory over the Niners.
And speaking of the San Francisco 49ers last week, oh, wait, hold on a second. Jake Moody just missed another field goal. He missed 3 field goals last week, and that game wouldn't have even been as close as it was with the Tampa Bay. You were talking about they paid the corner, Lenore. They're going to probably have to pay Juwan Jennings here if he keeps having weeks like he has. I mean, the guy is Purdy's favorite target now. He was better than Ayuk when Ayuk was playing. So he had 93 yards last week. Christian McCaffrey, done most of his damage through the air. I mean, he couldn't get it going on the ground. But San Francisco, they squeaked by Tampa Bay last week, and they've kind of squeaked by most of the year. They haven't really had the year we thought that they were going to have, but in this case here, they're at home. They're going against Seattle, who, like you said, Seattle's played decent here lately. They're a good team. They were off last week, but Smith and Jigba's played really good lately. I think he's been their best wide receiver, actually, even better than DK or Tyler Lockett, who's Mr. Consistency. But I don't think they get the win this week. I think that San Francisco wins this game, and I like San Francisco to cover. I think they win by a touchdown in this one. So give me the Niners. Give me the cover. The last 425 matchup, a little matchup between two teams here. The Kansas City Chiefs travel to Orchard Park, New York to face the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is a 2-point favorite in this game. Gage, who do you like in this one here?
Oh, wow, the undefeated team is the underdog on this one. I saw someone compared this season's Chiefs to the 2020 Pittsburgh Steelers when they started out 11-0 and then lost the next 4 games and then got a first-round exit in the playoffs. And I have to agree. The Chiefs have been so freaking lucky this season. It is incredible. Maybe they've had some help from the refs, maybe. But, the refs can't help you block a field goal like that, right? That's all on the team. But I think, was it 7 of their wins, I think, have been like 1-score games or within like 3 points, something ridiculous like that. Do they lose this week in Buffalo against a red-hot Bills team? I don't know. I think, you mentioned Pittsburgh and Baltimore being the game for the 1 o'clock slate. This is definitely probably game of the week between Kansas City and Buffalo. I don't know. I'm going, this is going to be a good one. I like the Chiefs defense. Under Spagnuolo, yes, they've been really good this year. Josh Allen's been having a couple turnovers recently after starting the first several weeks without one. He's had an interception now, I think, in 2 or 3 straight games. Give me the Chiefs to stay undefeated. I think they're going to get help again from the refs. I think, Spagnuolo is going to draw up a couple different blitzes that maybe they haven't seen on film yet, meaning the Bills. Give me the Chiefs. The Mahomes to Kelsey connection stays relevant. Give me the Chiefs, and obviously being the underdogs, give me the points.
So, I seen a stat earlier in the week where somebody took all the teams and they said if you flipped each game, like 1-possession games, what would the team's record be if you flipped it to, say they won the 1-possession game? If you just flipped it and it made it a loss or a win, either way, the Chiefs would be 2-7 this year if you flipped their one-score games. The Chiefs, they're without Harrison Butker this week. That could play a huge role. They, people have talked about Patrick Mahomes, how great he is and everything. He's great. But that's not the story of the Chiefs this year. It's that defense. They're a defensive-minded team. And for people not to see that, it's like, Patrick Mahomes, he's going to put up a bunch. He hasn't played that great this year. He hasn't had to, really. The defense has carried him. Buffalo Bills, on the other hand, they got pounded by Baltimore earlier in the season. But they're 8-2. They won last week despite Josh Allen throwing a couple of picks. This week, it's a tough one here because, this game's on CBS, so we're going to get Tony Romo drooling at the mouth over Josh Allen. He loves him some Josh Allen, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely going to happen. That's what we got to look forward to in this game right here. Maybe mute the TV. I like Buffalo here at home. I think that they're going to give Kansas City their first loss of the season. They can't beat them on the playoffs, apparently. But I think that they'll beat them here at home. Give me Buffalo. Give me Buffalo to cover. And I know if Kansas City comes out and wins this, I'm not picking against Kansas City until they prove me wrong. I said that before, but I feel like this week they go out and they get the loss. They should have lost last week. They should have lost to Cincinnati. They should have lost this game, that game, several games this year. But I think Buffalo wins it here, and Buffalo covers. Go Bills. And then that brings us to the Sunday night matchup. The Cincinnati Bengals travel to L.A. to face the L.A. Chargers. The Chargers are a 1.5-point favorite. Gage, what do you think about this one here?
I'm surprised the Chargers are the favorite in this one. I thought after the offensive explosion that the Bengals had last week that they'd be the favorite. You're expected to get Higgins back. Hopefully he actually comes back. Who knows? Maybe he might tap himself out. Who knows? But I think one of defensive wise, we've talked about it. Cincy does not have a good defense. But the one thing they got going for him is they have the least amount of penalties called against them this season with 44. The Chiefs right above them at 45 and the Cardinals at 46. And then the Chargers right behind them at 48. How are the Chargers a favorite? I can't wrap my head around that. I mean, they've kind of gone away from the running game a little bit. They've kind of started to let Herbert throw again. McConkey's looked real good, but you got Jamar on the other side. I think the Bengals are going to put up a lot of points. I think the Chargers are going to put up a lot of points. But you know how you win games in the National Football League? You score more points than the other team. I think the Bengals are going to do that. Give me the Bengals in this one. Obviously, give me the points since they're somehow the underdogs. And I think, we saw a real offensive explosion on Thursday Night Football. I don't think it's going to be as much of an explosion this week on Sunday, but it's going to be a big one. But give me the Bengals.
Yeah, the Chargers, they've won most of their games this year by running the ball and playing defense, getting a big lead, playing defense. But like you said, lately they've kind of changed that up a little bit and let Herbert kind of toss it around a little bit. Not a whole lot, though. I mean, he's still not the Justin Herbert he was his rookie year as far as that goes. First 2 years, actually. This is the battle of the 2020 quarterback class here. I remember when the cards came out, the rookie cards, and Burrow tore his ACL in Washington. And Herbert cards were going for more than Burrow cards. And then the next year, Burrow comes back, and he leads them to the Super Bowl. And then the Burrow cards are now worth more than the Herbert cards. So it's kind of interesting there. T. Higgins is back. Maybe.
Hopefully.
It depends. Hopefully. Maybe. Wouldn't surprise me if he, questionable again. You say he might tap himself out. Wouldn't surprise me. Because who needs a contract, right? Whatever. You still got Jamar Chase on the other side. Him and Burrow's got that thing clicking. I mean, really good. Running game has not been that good, but Chase Brown out of the backfield catching passes good. Khalil Herbert, he had a carry last week and he fumbled. So I mean that was a great trade. I'm glad they made that trade mid-season. Just awesome. I'm pretty sure the last time the Bengals played at SoFi Stadium was Super Bowl 56. That's the last time I'm gonna bring it up right now. They get revenge this time in that stadium and they win this game. They cover, like you said. I guess it's the home field advantage is maybe why the Chargers have it. Maybe it's the 6-3 the record. Maybe that's why they got it. I don't know. But if the Bengals are all healthy on that side of the offense, I don't see the Chargers slowing them down. You know, they've got to do defense, but this is a different kind of offense. Give me the Bengals. Give me them to cover, of course. And we move to the Monday night game. The Battle of Texas right here. Hasn't been a bigger battle since the Battle of the Alamo in Texas. The Houston Texans travel to Arlington to face the Dallas Cowboys. Houston's a 7-point favorite. Gage, this is not going to be a good Monday night game, I don't think. What do you think about
it? This is definitely not going to be a good game at all. Who knows? I know it's a Monday night game, but maybe the sun will still be out and, the curtains will stay open and the Dallas players will have another excuse to use that, we couldn't see. Sorry. Brent, I can't see you. It's too bright. What are we doing? Yeah. Like, hey, Jerry, why don't you close it? You have the ability. You can put the curtains over. I don't know, just an idea. They still got Cooper Rush starting. Cooper didn't do good at all last week. It felt like check down after check down after check down after check down. But you want to talk about not doing good. What happened to the second half in the Houston game last week? We talked about it. Jared Goff was able to somehow make a comeback. Jake Bates putting that thing barely past the right and left uprights of the field goal. If the Cowboys win, it's going to be on Houston mistakes. Cowboys are not going to win because the Cowboys are the better team. If they win, it's going to be because CJ Stroud forgot, how to play. He's an Ohio State quarterback, so of course he's not really having a good season. But I'm going to take the Texans in this one. Do I trust them to cover? No. So give me the Texans to win, but a Dallas cover.
Yeah, Houston last week maybe should have beat the Lions. I mean, you pick off the other team's quarterback 5 times, you should probably win that game, right? Houston, man, it's been a sophomore slump kind of for CJ Stroud this year. He looked awesome last year as a rookie, and people were like, man, this guy's next big thing. And it's like, pump the brakes. Maybe not after this season, the way he's played.
Yeah.
Dallas, on the other hand, you mentioned, maybe closing the curtains. Well, Jerry Jones is probably like, well, it's America's favorite team. The Lord's got to be able to look down and see the Cowboys play. Come on. They can keep making excuses. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that Cooper Rush is throwing passes to him somewhat, maybe. I think last week they lost because I think Philly is just that much better than them, because the Cowboys weren't a good team with Dak. And they're not going to be any better with Cooper Rush. I like Houston in this one. I think Houston will actually push. I think it's going to be a 7-point game. Give me the Texans in this one. And give me the push. So, yeah, Houston wins the one. We have such a good slate of games. And then we got Monday night.
I mean, it all sounds bad, but at least we're not sending the Panthers and Giants back over to Germany to torture those fans over there.
Hey, we gave them extra football last week during that one now. So, I mean, they should be lucky.
It wasn't really extra football, though. I mean, someone fumbled, it felt like, I think it was the first play of overtime. So, I don't really know.
Oh, man. But, yeah, if, we want to take this thing international, who better than Carolina and New York, right? 9:30 in the morning.
That which is bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Germany,
yeah, I know.
all apologies. Whatever may have happened in like wars before. I don't know if this was payback, but apologies.
I think it was. I think it was. I think it was a little bit of payback for World War II and all that. The Giants are on a bye this week, and the Panthers because of the Germany game. Then you have the Arizona Cardinals, and then those Tampa Bay Buccaneers all on a bye. So look out, whoever Arizona plays next week. I kind of like the chances against Arizona. Kyler Murray's going to get deep into Call of Duty this week that he's off, and just be totally focused on it the rest of the season.
I don't know. Like you said when we were talking about it a little bit, Kyler, ever since COD's come out, he hasn't been bad. Maybe it's just a bad game. Maybe he started the campaign a little bit and was like, God, this sucks, and decided to focus on football. I don't really know.
Yeah, maybe he's not a Black Ops fan. Maybe that's not his favorite part of the series. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll find out next week.
It's incredible. I'm looking forward to this week of games. I think there's a lot of good games that are going to be on it. But there's also some not good games on it. So be interesting to see. Hopefully our teams can come out with a win.
Let's hope so. For picking purposes and personal purposes.
Yeah.
So who you got tonight in the fight?
I think Paul's gonna win it, just because I think it's scripted. I do.
Yeah, I do too.
I think there's some sort of payoff, but I do enjoy the diamond ear cover thing that Paul wore at the face-to-face the other day. That was kind of cool, kind of funny. But the slap from Tyson to Paul, it was like you could see like the girls in the back to even react to it. It's like, what, did they know it was going to come? Like, what's going on?
And like Tyson, like he's 58, Paul's young. When I thought, if you still watch Tyson on the speed bag, like that's a dangerous guy right there.
Oh yeah.
But I thought, man, he's going to tear him up. But when Paul puts $40 million on himself to win this fight, I'm like, you told me all I needed to know right there.
Yeah.
I know what's happening now, but
yeah,
I'm going to watch. Sad. I'm going to get suckered into watching it, of course, but I already know what's going to happen, but still.
Like, I have nothing else to watch, so why not watch it? I mean, looking at Tyson at the face-to-face, I was surprised how jacked he still is. Like, I feel like he could probably go, if this wasn't scripted, he probably could go all however many rounds with Paul. But I think it's going to end in a couple rounds. I don't think it's going to go to judge's decision. I think it's going to end on knockout.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you. But like I said, they've suckered me in, and I think they've suckered you in too, and they're going to make a killing off of this fight. And
yeah, I'm just glad it's on Netflix and don't have to pay for anything, pay-per-view wise.
Yeah, Netflix is getting all the good stuff. I mean, we're about to get Christmas football this year.
Don't remind me, all right? Don't do it.
Well, man, that'll do it for the picks this week. We'll be back next week for week 12. Hopefully, both of us with wins in our columns and all that good stuff. But until then, we'll see you all later.
Later.
Hopefully, you pull that Skeens card.
I hope so. Oh my, that would be awesome.
We'll see you guys.